And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with the Game Boy Geek.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going to be cultists and going to be putting some offspring through the night of the Grand Octopus. And this is from IELLO Games. 3 to 5 players, ages 7 and up, plays in about 20 minutes. This is a programming game where you're secretly programming your guys to go somewhere, and it's going to have a little bit of negotiation involved. So let's check it out. I'll show you how it's played. I'll see you on the other side. At the beginning of the game, you have to pick your color, and each of these colors is going to have a large pawn, which is the offspring, and a smaller pawn, which is the cultist. And you get to select your color and pull your pawns. You also will get a programming board of your color. This one will be red, green, and so on and so forth, which you'll use to program your movements. Now in this game, everybody is a cultist, and they are trying to, be dedicated to the Grand Octopus. So everyone's scouring the university, trying to get up any four of the tokens that are there, in hopes that this will allow them to return to Earth, and the first person to do that will be the winner. So how does this work? Well, each round you're going to select two different things. One is which room is your cultist going to go, and you know that because this looks just like the cultist. So this is the smaller one. And then you have this tail that's pointing at the larger one. So let's say I'm going to have my offspring go to door 4, room 4, and I'm going to have this guy go to room 3. Let's just say like that. Okay, everybody would do this. They would flip it over like this so nobody could see it. Once everybody's done, we would flip it up and everybody would move their cultists to this room and their offsprings to that room. Now, when moving the cultists, they can only move to an adjacent room that has a place they can go. For example, from the library, they can go to room 5, they can go to room 4, and they go to room 3, 2, but they cannot go directly to room 6 because there's no place to go there. Now, conversely, let's say somebody's in room 2 already, they can only go to the rooms here. He couldn't go directly from here to room 5, let's say, from the cultist point of view. Now, the offspring's a different thing. They can go to any room no matter where they were the turn before. So let's take a look at what the board might look like after the first move. Now, at the end, one of 3 things is going to happen. One is somebody might be alone with no other pawns at all by themselves, and they get to simply take one of these 4 tokens that they need to win the game, and they would just take this and put it in front of them. The first one to get 4 of these tokens wins the game. Second thing that might happen is you may have at least one other offspring in the same spot as your cultist. In this case, the yellow person would not get one of these. In fact, they would actually get some damage. And essentially, yellow would go down 1. Now this starts at number of players plus 1. If you go off the dagger to 0, you're dead and out of the game. Now these 2 smart characters both decided not to move. They decided to stay in room 1, which is a definite legal move, but they both stayed there. The third thing that can happen is that you're in a room with more than one person, and then without any cultists, and then you have to decide and negotiate who is going to get this. Now when they negotiate, one of 3 things can happen. They can decide to let one of these 2 get this, and maybe they want to negotiate and say, you know what, I'll take this one now, I'll let you have the next one if we come up to another confrontation later. So you can allow one of these 2 people would decide which one gets this token this round. The second thing is they could just decide, you know what, neither of us get it, we're fine with both of us not getting it. Or they could maybe not come to an agreement, and if that happens, they both would lose 1 damage. In this case, black and pink would go down 1. Now there's actually a location that's off the map, and to go there essentially you would put both of your things on the same number, and this would allow you to put your cultists out that round only and put them in this area here. Now if you dominate or you win this area, you'd get one of these tokens, and depending on the tile that's used, there's 4 different ones, different special actions happen. For example, in this one, if you dominate this location, the marsh, you get to exchange one of your tokens with another cultist. In the moon section, you could, instead of taking one of these, you can take 1 damage and then make somebody else return one of their tokens back to the board. In the Lost City before, no matter what happens here, each cult in this cursed place loses 1 cult power from the dagger here, then finish this as usual. So you're gonna get hurt when you go here if there's any conflict. And the Dimension of Dreams, you can either take one of the silver key tokens or move your person up one on the life track. So this, you just select any one of these 4 at the beginning of the game to put there. And again, this just continues. Everyone programs their moves, and you do this until any one person has all 4 of these, or any 4 of these, and that person is declared the winner. If more than one player has 4 on the end of the same turn, it goes tiebreaker. Whoever has 1, if one person has 1 and the other person doesn't, that person wins. If they both have a 1, it goes to 2, and then 3, and then 4. It goes in order of numbers for tiebreakers, and then that's the winner. Well, there's Night of the Grand Octopus. I was interested in this game because I saw it at Gamma. I got a little preview of it. It has like, a simple light game, kids, nice artwork, family, programming, negotiation, 20 minutes or less. Boom, I'm interested. Unfortunately, this did not play out the way I was hoping it was going to play. I typically like programming games. This one I was slightly disappointed, actually pretty disappointed with this one. Mostly because through the experience of playing the games, we realized that the negotiation aspect isn't even barely there. Because you're going to get somewhere and you're going to negotiate and someone's going to go, well, I'll give you one next time. You don't really have a whole lot to negotiate with. It's like, I'll give you one next time. I mean, that's about it. There's not a whole lot to negotiate with. So you're either like basically saying that, which the guy always goes back on what he's going to say next time, or you're just going to agree to disagree and not take anything, or agree to agree and both get hurt. So it wasn't that interesting. I also had some weird things happen where there was only 2 of us left at a game. I had 1 less life than he did, but I had 1 more token than he did. And we got there to negotiate, and it was like, well, I basically had to allow him to get it or else I would have died. And he's like, well, you know, you can't say, yes, I'm not going to give it to you. So basically we're forced to just allow me to have it or the game's over. You know, and I don't know, that didn't sit well with me. There was also an aspect where 2 people had the same 1 life and they negotiated and they're like, well, one person had 1 less token than that person. And I was like, well, we either end the game because nobody's going to win because we both die, or you have to give me that token. And it was like, I don't know. I know it's a kid's game. It's ages 7 and plus, and they didn't want to make the negotiation too deep. But in fact, I think it really was a drawback because you don't really have a lot to negotiate, and sometimes you get backed into a corner where it really plays itself. So I was really disappointed with this one. So I can't recommend it. I was really excited about it. I was hoping it was going to be something different, but it just kind of fell flat for us. The programming aspect was cool. I mean, I liked programming, trying to guess where people are going to go. Haha, I stayed here. You thought I was going to go there. That part of it was fine. But just bad taste in my mouth in some of those instances I talked about that happened during our game with the negotiation. And so for me, I'm not going to recommend this one, but you might like it if you see the video. Check out Night of the Grand Octopus.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.